What are your plans to retain money inside the city of Laurel?
Well, Jason, that's a good question as it relates to trying to keep monies here. First of all, Laurel has to grow. And we're always comparing ourselves to Hattiesburg and what Hattiesburg is doing and what Hattiesburg has done. But when I look around the state, to me, Pearl, Mississippi is really a better model for us to look at as opposed to Hattiesburg. Pearl has a mental health facility, Pearl has hospitals, Pearl has schools, and Pearl has homegrown industries and businesses. Mississippi, the state of Mississippi put $15 million this year into a mall in Pearl. I think these kinds of things could be done here in Laurel. Given the political capital that we have here, the strength that we have here in Laurel, if we all get on one page, I really do believe that we'll be able to get the big ticket stores here in Laurel. But the first thing we've got to do is address some of our structural deficits. You know, and in order for us to do that, we've got to have jobs.
And that leads us to the next question. Everyone talks about creating jobs and bringing in more businesses to the city. Can you share specifically how you plan to bring in some businesses and jobs?
Well, you know, we've discussed this before. I do believe that the first thing that we have to do in Laurel is that the city itself has to develop its package with its tax incentives, with all of our amenities that our industrial complexes will provide to any prospective business prospect. We have to be able to show them that we have such good infrastructure here. We've got rail, we've got multiple airports, we have multiple highways here. People talk about Hattiesburg being the hub city. There is no difference between Laurel and Hattiesburg. People go for the same distance from Waynesboro, from Heidelberg, from Collins, to go to them as a hub as to come to us. So there is no difference. The only thing here is that we have not, in my opinion, been aggressive enough as we go out to look for our business prospects. Now, the Board of Supervisors just worked to put together a tax package for GE. So they've shown that they're willing to do it. What Laurel has to do is say, listen, we're going to be aggressive also, and we're going to look at additional tax incentives that we can offer to business prospects similar to GE. The other thing that we have to do, Jason, is that we must look at our underemployed people and our unemployed people. You know, they just opening the tire plant in West Point, and they talked about that West Point had the second highest unemployment in the state of Mississippi. Well, when you look into the numbers at West Point, they have a lot of high school dropouts. Their schools are not the greatest. We are happy that they got the tire plant, but if you're going to be investing in businesses that are going forward, like GE, you've got to have a much highly skilled workforce that these companies can pull from. So what we want to do is to work with workforce development, work with the junior college, and we want to have our people to come in and go back to school in their adult basic education program so that they can get the high ratings in reading, math, and science. You've heard everybody's been talking about that math and science, all the STEM areas. That is the competencies that our people have to have going forward. So we want to get high competency levels in those areas, give our people certificates for their competency levels. That will be a part of our package that we will include as we go to discuss Laurel with business prospects. Then, Jason, the beautification of our city. You know, you can't bring people to a dirty city. And our entryways need work. Our entryways into our neighborhoods need work. We have got to clean our city up. If we, I believe, will do those things, I think that will put us in a good position to be out here talking to these business prospects, and they'll be wanting to give Laurel a look. Now, the other thing, we've got to continue to move forward with our education. We all know that we can do better. We know Laurel has always been at the top, and we're going to strive to get there. So our goal is to have a much more rigorous standard over there for our children. And if we can get our children performing and our underemployed and our unemployed performing, then you will see this city move forward, and people will want to bring their businesses here. I know they will. We just got to get moving.
Absolutely. Let's change direction here. Question number 3. Have you promised any former candidate who didn't make the runoff a job or position inside your city administration in exchange for their support from the runoff?
No, I have not. Matter of fact, I would not have done that. And let me just say that the people that were running for mayor with me, people with great integrity, they would never have come to me, as I never would have gone to them to ask something like that. So I think that speaks highly of those two gentlemen. It really does.
What are your plans to repair our streets, and how are we going to pay for it?
Well, that is a good question. And I thank whoever asked that question. We thank them for having asked it. Now, the city has, a plan in place. We're going to assess that plan that they have as it relates to the repairing of the streets. What the people have to understand is that you have different scenarios going on in Laurel. For instance, on that First Avenue project that they just completed, the sewers and all that was in the middle of the street. Over there where they're working at, where I live, all of that is on the edge of the streets. So what I want to do is prioritize in every ward the worst streets. We want to get our underground situation corrected so that when we do overlay, it will be fixed right the first time. Now, the city has done a good job, I think, in trying, as far as financing is concerned, in trying to meet the needs of paving of the streets. Now, we know that the streets look terrible, but I'm saying if you don't want your taxes raised, they've tried to do that. But there are two other things that are out there, I think, that we can look at as it relates to the 3 as it relates to resources. We can continue like the city has done. So as the tax collections come in and the city grows as it relates to their receipts, then we can set aside a certain amount of money for street and sewer repair. The other thing that I think we ought to look at, which was proposed by Councilman Chin, is the continuation of the 1% tax that was on the bond, those monies would then, as opposed to the bond having been retired, that those monies can go to the coffers, but make sure that those monies are designated strictly for street and sewer repair. I thought that was a very interesting proposal that he had, and I believe that we should look at everything. The other thing is, like Jones County. Jones County has a very aggressive street program. They have a bonding program that in different phases, and so many years, I believe it's a 4-year time frame, they purchase and sell bonds for their street repair. Now, the people in Laurel should be asking the question, why is not some of that street money repair being taken place here in Laurel, since you have beats that come into the city and we're paying for those bonds to be retired. Hopefully we'll be able to work with the supervisors to see can we get some help there. But I do think that it is time for us to say that for the quality of life for our people, that it is critical that we make some lasting and permanent repairs to our streets, and really this could be a combination of all three, where as the receipts come in, we set aside so much money, we look at that one tax being continued, and then we look at bonding. Bonds are so cheap now. If we were ever going to bond for something like that, that would be something that we could consider going forward.
Okay. We have about 4.5 minutes left. Will there be a CAO to run the city, and what changes do you see at the city hall?
Well, first of all, let me say that I think that the people want me, if I'm elected mayor after June the 4th, to go in and assess the structure of the city. So for me to say that there will be or there won't be, I think would be premature at this time. I think that the people expect me to go in, look and see how the city is running, and then through my vision, what I want to accomplish. If this structure is working, then why change it? But if it does not comport with my vision, then there may be some changes. But we have to see what is there first.
Both candidates have many years on the taxpayer payroll as elected officials. What will you do differently, and how?
Well, I don't know if I've served the people of District 80 for 20 years, but I've had a working life. I worked 14 and a half, almost 15 years for the state of Mississippi before I went to the legislature. And of course, I have a small business here in Laurel that, I've been in business 9 years. So, and I would invite any of the citizens of Laurel to go down there and ask them how much ad valorem taxes does Omeria pay, because I pay an awful lot. So I know what it is to be a taxpayer, and I know that you expect a lot from the people that you elect to represent you. But I guess what I would do differently is I want to move Laurel forward. And Jason, I understand that if you got here in Laurel, you've lost population, you're 10% below the state average in graduation, you are $10,000 less on the per capita income for the state of Mississippi, you're 10% higher for the poverty level in the state of Mississippi. So we've got to do something different here with these kinds of numbers if we want this city to prosper. Now, if you want to keep it just like it is and watch this city die on the vine, then you do that. But I believe that we have got to invest in our city, invest in our schools, and at some point we've got to make an investment in our people. And I believe if we do that, that we will be able to change the direction of this city. But Jason, that's just like me. I could say I'm doing pretty good. Someone else could say that they're doing pretty good. But if you've got 32% of your city living below the poverty level, if you've got your median income is $10,000 less than the median income in the poorest state in the union, then you got some problems. So we have got to get our people to understand that they're going to have to go to school, that they're going to have to get some education, that we're going to have to provide opportunities, and we gotta get out here and literally fight for jobs for our people. If we can get our people trained, get their competency levels up so that we can get good jobs in here, you will see the city turn. And then down the road, these deficits that I've discussed, in particular, the income deficits, you will see those change, because with jobs you build families, Jason, and when you build families, then you build prosperity. So that's what we want. That's what we want for Laurel.
All right, we're going to go ahead and give 5 more minutes. We'll offer that to Councilman McGee also to give you guys both the 20 minutes total, because this next question is something that a lot of people have been asking for. So we're going to start another 5 minutes right now for you. We've all known of Laurel's water troubles, and the recent E. coli scare brought it front and center. What is your plan to revamp the City of Laurel's water and sewer system, and how will it be financed?
Well, Jason, let me say this to you. First of all, I've been here 56 years, and it has just only been recently that Laurel has had water problems. Now, you just ask anybody that's over 30 years old. Laurel has always had some of the best water ever. My brother is a vegetarian. He lives in Texas. When he comes to Laurel, he doesn't buy a bottle of water. He drinks Laurel's water, because Laurel has always had good water. So what we have to do is say, now what has changed? What has changed? Well, we know that we have a new company that has been directing Laurel's water and sewer program. And we know that we've had problems. And if we look back on when these problems occurred, I think we can say that we've had quite a few problems under the management of this new company. So what I want to do is give these people an opportunity to come in and talk to us about what it is they're doing, what it is that they've done. But we also want to give others an opportunity to come in and tell us what they can do. I do believe personally that our water and our sewer program can be managed locally and could be managed cheaper if it were to be done locally. But in all fairness, and I think we ought to always be fair to people, I want to give these people an opportunity to come in and show me what it is that they've done. Now, they got a pretty bad record, because we've had all kinds of water and sewer issues. I don't know that they can defend it, but I do believe that you give people an opportunity. And I believe that, I don't know that they will be able to defend their record, quite frankly, Jason. And I do believe that we can go back to the programs that we had before with our local people, with local engineers working with us to make sure that our water quality is good and that we have proper sewer facilities. And I look forward to really going through the debate and making that decision. I surely do.
All right, we're going to combine the last couple of questions. You've got 2.5 minutes. What is your vision for Laurel? How would you like to leave it a better place? And what do you consider to be the biggest danger for the City of Laurel's future?
Well, I think we've discussed really what is the biggest danger. That if we don't turn the corner to try to address some of these deficits that we have, from dropouts, from poverty, to these income disparities, if we don't do those things, then Laurel is going to die. There is no way for a city that has 60% of its population in despair for that city to survive. So we've got to try to do something to correct some of those deficits. You know, even 50, 60 years ago, you could ride in all areas of Laurel and there was pride there. Even if you were in a shotgun house, you had pride. So we've got to restore this notion of love for our city back into our people. I think that that can be done. I'm looking forward to working with the existing garden clubs, Jason, because I want to develop 2 additional garden clubs in every ward. I believe in garden clubs because I believe that those things help build neighborhoods. The other thing I talked about was these entryways. You know, all of these neighborhoods, and you may not know too much about Warren's Quarters or Kingston or the KC Bottom, but these neighborhoods and what they stood for at one time resonate to a lot of people who lived in them. They have a history. It would be great for us to be able to showcase that history in these neighborhood entryways. I believe that we're going to have to work with our parks. There's really much more than we could be doing with our parks. We never talk about Olmsted having drawn this city. We don't talk about Ms. Price. We don't talk about Sanderson Farms and Masonite and Howard Industries, our great history. We've got my sister, nationally known neurosurgeon. Laurel has an awful lot to offer. We need to be talking about it. And I think if we do that, if we tout what we have, build upon what we have, regardless to who becomes the mayor of this city, I think that it will be a better place. And that is my hope and prayer for Laurel, that we can be the city beautiful again, that we can be the city of trees again, that we can be a city of great entertainment, a city of great education, a city on the move. That's my vision for Laurel, my hope and my prayer for Laurel.
Representative Omeria Scott, running for mayor of Laurel. We appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.